phenomena.
Unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Who are they? Where are they from? And what is their intent?
All questions that immediately come to mind with the mention of UFOs.
A Pentagon report is detailing a dramatic increase in UFO sightings, more than 350 since 2021. Many of them are explained as being drones, birds, or weather events, but about half of them remain unexplained.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. Oh my gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude.
This video taken by the Navy showing what he describes as pyramid-shaped UFOs flying over the USS Russell off the San Diego coast in July of 2019. The Pentagon has since confirmed that the video is authentic.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army. Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio, for further inspection. Late this afternoon, a bulletin from New Mexico suggested that the widely publicized mystery of the flying saucers may soon be solved. Army Air Force officers reported that one of the strange discs had been found and inspected sometime last week. Our correspondents in Los Angeles and Chicago have been in contact with Army officials endeavoring to obtain all possible late information. Joe Wilson reports to us now from Chicago. The Army may be getting to the bottom of all this talk about the so-called flying saucers. As a matter of fact, the 509th Atomic Bomb Group headquarters at Roswell, New Mexico, reports that it has received one of the discs which landed on a ranch outside Roswell. The disc landed at a ranch at Corona, New Mexico, and the rancher turned it over to the Air Force. Rancher W.W. Brazil is the man who discovered the saucer.
There's footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are.
More people are coming forward with their own sightings.
Videos recorded by U.S. Navy personnel have added a new layer of evidence to the current national debate about UFOs.
Right at that moment, I saw what looked like 5 lights flying in formation in kind of an inverted check mark.
The NASA independent study team did not find any evidence that UAP have an extraterrestrial origin. We don't know what these UAP are.
The mysterious flying objects are still a mystery. NASA will continue investigating them and has appointed a director of UAP research.
Technology that we faced was far superior than anything that we had.
Truth Seekers, what's going on? It is Friday, so I want to welcome everybody here tonight. As you know, we got a 2-part night tonight, and I just want to thank everybody. And it's been a long week, but the week is at the end, and nothing better than talking about a few conspiracies, but today is going to be a little different shift. I'm going to give you some tactics on not only how these conspiracies get into people's mind. We'll talk about some of the top conspiracies that's out there, especially in our community, from the Reptile elite to Q to the false flag operation, Chemtrails, even a moon landing probably, and New World Order. We'll talk about a little of those, each one briefly, but we're going to see how they were able to put this out there and then, of course, mess with everybody's mind when it comes to that. So if you're ready, I'm ready. And then, of course, you know, we will most likely shut this one down, and then we'll go to our Anything Goes file. You know, we'll put up the new stream, and then we'll hop on there, and we can just talk about anything you want. You all can come in the meantime. But let's get down to the business of things, and let's see how we can rock this. And so All right, so I'm excited. It is Friday. Yes. Hope you have had an incredible week. If not, we're going to take you into the weekend. We're going to take you into the weekend with a little things on your mind so that you can have some conversation to talk about Saturday and Sunday. And then, of course, by that time, you'll be full throttle, ready to go back and do what you do on Monday. But in the meantime, it is conspiracy time. We're going to talk about those conspiracies. We're going to talk about how they put them out there, how you can look for those, and some of the tests that we do to make sure that the conspiracies are right there on time. In the meantime, I'll give a shout out to some of you who are already here. If you are here, Body Electric is in the house. Rainbow Light Warrior is in the house. Cosmic Astrology. Of course, the Greatness and Nicole is in the house. We have Lavender, Devon. And let me scroll up. Mars. The Godmother, Diana is in the house. Sirius Forms. Billy Cat are in Diva. All right, so give everybody those welcomes, and let's get ready to rock this thing. I got my notes. I got everything right here. All right. Okay, so let's get down to business. All right, so when we talk about some of these conspiracies out here, a lot of stuff can get very dangerous, especially depends on how it leaks into our community and our everyday lives when it gets down to this, and who is putting them out there and what's the purpose, because sometimes there's a nefarious intent when it comes down to putting these conspiracies together. And not everything, all conspiracies are fake. There are real conspiracies that people are up to the thing. So tonight we're going to go over a few. I think I told you before that I have this little acronym called Conspire. This will kind of break some things down. It will give you some information. It will help you interpret and understand when you're listening and seeing these conspiracies in real time. You can break it down and say, okay, it fits the criteria of a conspiracy. So if it walks like a duck, look like a duck, it is damn sure a duck. And so we're going to call it that as well. All right. So in the meantime, let's get down. I don't know of basically what you have done in this week, but I will tell you, as always, the UFO phenomenon is still flowing, is still growing, is still so much stuff out there happening within our government, within the whistleblowers community. It just never stops. And when you get down to this UFO phenomenon, one of the biggest conspiracies of them all is the reptile elite. And I say that because I don't have the book in front of me, but I have a book now. It's all about the reptile elite. I was reading it. And this story here, if you ever heard about it, claims that there are reptilian humanoids secretly controlling the world through position of power. And one of the things about it is what makes it so dangerous, this particular conspiracy. Now, am I saying it's not true? I didn't say that. Am I saying it is true? Yeah, I didn't say that either. But do I believe that there are some higher forces out here that's coming and they're not from this earth? Absolutely, I do. But the dangerous part, because it fosters the distrust into the institution, and it promotes a lot of stuff, when it gets down to racism, and distract us from the real world issues, that there's just somebody behind all of this stuff. Now, I talked about this before. I've talked about, as I started doing my research and I start thinking about these secret societies and how are they implementing their ideas and ideology, it makes sense. If you are going to come here and you don't belong here, why not get yourself and position yourself in the best parts of life, whether it's position of power, wealth, riches, all these things, so you can experience the human thing across the board. But then after that, what's the main thing you're going to do? Well, you're going to protect it. You're going to make sure you protect yourself by making sure that people don't find out the truth. And this is where we get into all these conspiracies, the hidden truths, and then where we come into place, us truth seekers. So that's something that I think we do when we're looking at this thing as well. So again, it is Friday. I know we got started just a little late, and then we will do our Freaky Friday. I'll be talking about this for about an hour, and then we'll shut this down, and then I'll put up the other live stream to where we can talk about anything we want. In fact, it may be a just ask me anything night. I don't care what it is. Just come up on stage. You got some questions you want to ask me, and we'll talk about it. Or it could be personal, whatever you want to know. I don't care. I just want us to take that, because that conversation will be deleted when we're done anyway. This one will stay up. Another part, I think, when it gets down to conspiracies, and like I said, if you are going to look into these things and hear them and why they're out there, and there's a real reason that they work, and they work because there's two types of thinking when we see this. Now, I always tell you, your eyes are useless when your mind is blind. You have to think why. You got to think why. So there's still two types of thoughts out here. There's conventional thinking, and then you're going to have your conspiratorial thinking. Now, those two run side by side. One in particular will have what we call a healthy skepticism. That's going to be your conventional side, but the conspiracy, it's override suspicion. It's all about suspicion. And they know this when they put these things out, because the first thing they're going to do is make it suspicious. They're going to make it seem, that's kind of odd, and that gets the thing started. So the other part to the conventional thinking side, you have to have responsive to the evidence. Now, of course, for a conspiracy to work, you're going to have overriding, interpreting the evidence. It's a little different. So you have the evidence, and then you have people interpreting the evidence, breaking it down, going, okay, why they do this? This is why, maybe they was playing it, and it just starts that barrage of thoughts. The other part, conventional thinking, is going to strive for the cohesive part of the information when we're going to talk about these things. Conspiracies, all contradictory. Every time you hear a conspiracy, we're going to contradict every single thing that comes out. And then one is going to be an actual conspiracy, which is actually there. And then the one that most people go down a rabbit hole is that imagined conspiracy. So those two sides right there, I'm just setting the tone for you that this is why you will see a lot of these things, and pretty much from there. False flag operations. Now, these are very dangerous situations. We get them all the time, especially in our industry, when we talk about an invasion of some type is coming, or they're going to make it look like there's an invasion so that we bring a new world order. So this happens all the time. But are we being set up for that right now? Are we actually being set up for a false flag invasion to bring us together? Because now you have AI, you got holographic technology, you have so many things that they can pull this off. And you can look up in the sky and you wouldn't even believe what you see or not. We don't know. I'm sure you all saw the movie Wag the Dog before. That was one of the greatest movies of all time, of how they can play the public and how they can sit there and create a storyline through the media. Because if you start really thinking about it, the media companies are the most powerful people when it comes down to public perception, because they can alter the majority of people's mind, vision, thoughts to whatever situation they want. And they can, and there's only about 4 or 5 top companies that owns the entire media industry. And if they have private meetings and say, okay, we're going to put this story out here, we're going to make it look like this, they can will the temperament of the public with ease, right? They can sit here and put some stuff out, and we're going to go down that route. So the false flag theory suggests that the government is going to orchestrate a terrorist attack or disasters to manipulate public opinion or justify whatever policies that it had. And this can leave a dangerous distrust, once again, in the government of when it comes down to law enforcement or everything else. And they're already doing that now. We don't talk about politics here, but they're doing it now. So the one thing you want to break it down, let's start with the reptilian elite, okay? Now, anytime you want to look at what they're doing, anytime we see this stuff on the news, when it's popping out, especially in our freaking, community, break it down to what I call an acronym called conspire. You have to look at this whole thing. So we'll start with the reptilian elite. Do they really exist? Why would they exist? Why would people want us to believe that they exist? Or just the opposite? Why wouldn't they want us to know that they're here? What would they be hiding? Now, the fact that reptilians look like reptilians, that's the perfect reason to hide. They can't walk among us. We know that, right? Not looking like a giant lizard or whatever, walking down the street. That'll be a little more out there, and we can really see what's really happening in real time. So shape-shifting that we hear, or maybe they just stay out of mind, out of sight. Maybe they just put themselves in a position where they can't be seen, but they still rule with their what I call the Godfather-like tentacles that goes down into the conspiracy. But anytime, so let's think about the reptilians. What would be their nefarious intent? That's going to be part down a conspiracy road. Why would they want to do anything? Because we got to remember, there has to be some motivations for the conspiracy to even work, to assume that they're up to something. So we can check the box. Maybe they are up to something, right? They're trying to control us, or like some people say, DNA, or maybe they're trying to put some stuff together. We'll get to that false flag in just a minute. I see it. Yeah. Okay. Great question. And great question. All right. So when you're talking about the nefarious intents, or now we don't look at that conspiracy of the reptilian like, well, something could be wrong. Why would they want to do that? You're supposed to. You have to understand and look for the question why. Now, if you go all the way back to what cosmostrologists asked the question about false flags, is because you have you in order to bring people together with a cause, there has to be an enemy or a situation. Now, when we're talking about what we're saying in our industry, nothing better than put a false flag operation together that there is an alien invasion. Now, if there is some type of invasion coming, that'll bring all the countries, no matter where they are, under one roof, which is that New World Order. That'll bring all the military together. That'll bring all the weaponry, technology, money, power, everything, because now we're protecting the world, and no longer we're protecting our countries and interests within the boundaries of all of these continents or whatever. So now we're talking annihilation of the planet. So that would be the perfect and only, and I think Ronald Reagan spoke about that years ago when he said, what would happen if we had to bring the worlds together, if there was some type of existential threat from the space. And I think he was already talking about this stuff. So you have to look at this thing would come down there. The other part is, let's talk about chemtrails. Now, what would be the conspiracy of chemtrails? Let's get into that right now. One of the main things of chemtrails is that they claim that those contrails, which are chemtrails, that's what they call them, from airplanes contain chemicals meant to control or harm the population. Let's get into this for a minute. If you had a plan and you wanted to say, I'm going to use the airplanes to put out some type of chemicals in the air, and it's going to affect population. Now, unless it was DNA oriented, so to speak, and what I'm saying is, when I put this in this air, it's only going to affect people of color, or it's going to only expect, people who are Latino or maybe Indian descent, or, whatever, because this thing can spread anywhere. It's not, they can't control where the wind flow is going like that. Not when you trying to spread some pathogen in the sky. That's just not happening. So why do people do this? Why do we take that when we see them in the skies? Now, do I know exactly what that is? Well, I've seen enough people that go up there and go into the airplane and opening that door, using the restroom and all that stuff. I don't know. I think they had enough room to hold that part until they land and they can empty it out. But up there in the sky, I don't know. Some people say that they are spraying different items up there. So what do you all think? What do you think about chemtrails? Let's go with that. Give me some comments in the audience here and tell me your thoughts on chemtrails, whatever they want to call them, and why would they even use those? What would be the nefarious intent behind that? Who would be the victims to this, and why would it happen? And of course, when you want to go through the contradictory of this, because it's two things they could be doing. They could be putting something up there to help and aid the atmosphere, or again, they could just be relieving stuff. So I'm just trying to figure out what would be. Okay, so Corey said they're trying to block out the sun. All right, let's go with that. They're trying to block out the sun. I think that will probably, I don't know how would that work, Corey, if you've heard anything of saying, okay, we're just going to spread something, because, you know, if you saw a chemtrail, it's just kind of like a line, and the sun is all over the place. And so they're doing a horrible job of doing that. But hey, maybe if it's putting something out there in the atmosphere over time and time, it could be doing that. Philly Cat said, I seen them spray. I was once in the first, and not the first video that hit online. When we walked outside, it was like walking into a web. They had, okay, so you're saying when you saw different type of chemtrails going through, it was like a web. And, you know, we used to talk about the soul net, and there was people that would take pictures. I see the soul net, and it would be chemtrails where all these planes, you know, I'm not for sure on that, but I would assume. Devon says manipulation of the gases were being breathing to alter our mind. And that's okay. So let's go with that for a minute, Devon. Let's say that was their intentions to create these chemtrails, to go up here and manipulate our mind. And all right, okay, I guess that would be a great way to do it. You know, it's like crop dusting, right? You know, they're dusting a whole field of crops and spraying in the sky, and they're getting all the bugs down there. But how do you control that? What if you have a cousin, you're over this thing, but you have a cousin that they're spraying, and now your family's. It's possible. And maybe they do designate it in a particular area. Maybe they assume wind speed, velocity, and they take in count of everything and say, when we do this and release it here, it should dissipate by the time it gets here, but it's going to spread on this community over here. All right, that is fine. And so, but to alter our mind, yeah, we'll talk about mind control. I got it here on one of the conspiracies, of course, but maybe that's the way to put it out there. So there's not bad from thinking in that thing. Now, Philly Cat says, blocking out the sun, the second video I told you was weaving like a pattern of a blanket. Cosmostrology said, I think they do. I believe that they do for some type of psychological control. Chemtrails will probably be the most efficient without people knowing and avoiding riots. All right. I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying y'all are not on point of what you're saying. I just think that when you look at it, it does. Okay, it could pose the fact of having, and maybe, you know, there could be just some other reasons that they're doing this. But hey, chemtrails is a logical thing, and so I think it's something that we can look into. Once again, one of the biggest freaking conspiracies out there, and I'm not saying going either way, but we got the flat earth theory. More and more research I'm doing, I'm seeing evidence of maps and things. Now that's a map. Maybe they didn't think about making a globe at the time so they can roll it and spin it, so they just have to spread it out. But the flat earth theory, you know, the idea that the earth is flat, surrounded by an ice wall, it's dangerous to think about it, because the basic scientific understanding promotes distrust in the education. So what I'm saying is, every freaking conspiracy has to have the alternate part of it. So we got flat earth, round earth. And there's a lot of people saying, Roderick, the earth is freaking flat. We have an ice wall. We're going to go off the edge of it. What? All right. So when I take in the movies and I look at Godzilla, and when he sprayed down and you know, he, you know, put his fire down into the ground, and it went all the way down to the center of Earth, the other side, and you think about it, we think about water. Okay, I can go along with that. If the world is flat, so why is the water not falling down from the bottom to the top? Or, you know, I mean, the world is round. Then we have this thing called gravity. We have something that's called gravity. So I don't know, but who in the audience feel that the world is flat? And, you know, what do y'all think? And see what y'all saying from there. Mara says, I don't believe in the flat earth theory. I don't either. I haven't been sold on it, Mara, but I listen to their arguments, right? I try to interpret their argument. When I break it down in more of a conspiracy, like I said, we go into conspire. If we want to go into overriding suspicion, if you want to go into, it doesn't have a nefarious intent, right? I don't know one way or the other, keeping us the secret to us that the world is round and not flat. I don't know where that will help. Maybe y'all can think about it. For those of you who are listening, why would they not want us to know that the world is flat versus being round? What's the advantage of that? What is the reason? Why would we have to be a victim to not knowing that it's actually flat? What would be the whole thing? Now, I'm sure it can escalate into some other stuff that we can probably go, but share. Why would you think it'll be necessary for them to say, we don't want people to know that the world is flat? Let me hear it. Oh, yeah, they're hiding something. Yeah, okay, we'll go with that basic 101. Let's put our detective music on. So let's go. Somebody go. All right, so we need some information. I need somebody to tell me why it matters if the world is round and flat. Give me some evidence. Give me your opinion of what will happen to us if we find out that the world is flat, right? What we find out tomorrow the world is flat. What do we wake up to? What's the possibilities? What's going to change? What would you do if we find out the world is flat? So why would they want to hide that? But it's round. I don't know. So get in on it. Let me see what you're talking about. Let's go. I need to know. We want to get to the bottom of this. We're truth seekers. Let's elevate this thing. Let's roll. Let's go. Let's go. All right. So that's our detective music. Every time you hear that, we're going to get down into the thing. All right. And pretty much and go from there. All right. So let me look back. Arian said, I want to know what makes a difference to us if it is flat around. Does something change? See, that's the same thing I was saying. We're on the same page with there, Diva. What's the difference? I can understand chemtrails, and I got about 30 more we're going to go through. I can understand chemtrails, but what difference would it make if the world is fucking round or flat? I don't know. And somebody, if y'all got something to say with that, Lillian says nothing. We can't do anything about it. I mean, not even if we can't do anything about it. I don't even worry about that part, Lillian. I'm just saying, why hide the fact that we have an ice wall, that the airplane, that if you just keep driving or swimming, you're just going to fall off the edge, and then you're going to fall where? Where are you going to fall to? And I just don't get it. Why people would even go that route. Rainbow said, I believe they're hiding the extra land shown on the ancient maps, and we argue about it round or flat is both either or neither. Okay, so all right, that's fine. Monica says, so we'll tube or we'll summer. Who knows? All right, so Matthew said it proves that the Bible is true. Now, I've been doing a lot of studying on the Bible. We're going to do a show on that pretty soon. I'm really getting down into it, and we can kind of go from there. All right, so another conspiracy, which we want to think about it, is I think we can all agree that it could be some truth into. All right, so we go from flat earth to hollow earth. Let's do that. The idea that the earth is hollow and it is inhabited by advanced civilization. So let's take those two theories. We go from round earth. We have a flat earth. Now, does that mean that hollow earth still exists, whether it's flat or round? Does the conspiracy goes that the fact that it doesn't matter if the earth is round or flat, if it's hollow earth, it's hollow, right? So something lives beneath us. Now, I will probably guess to say that the hollow earth theory is probably, I'm more down with that than I am with the flat earth theory. The hollow earth makes a lot of sense, except for when we get to the point where we're going with what we're taught, and that is there's a core, and there's the outer core, and then there's all of the, the molten lava and all that stuff down there. And so, okay, then I'm thinking hollow is in the middle, but hollow could be anywhere under the crust or whatever, and there would be life under there. Now, why? Because, okay, we already know people building bunkers. We already know that underground bases and all this stuff exists. So a hollow earth world is not too now. But why would they want to do that? Why would somebody want to live in hollow ground? Now, here's what I'm getting into. Now, when I'm studying the Theobal prophecy, I'm reading this book, they talk about how much climate change, how we have extensional level events, planets and all this stuff that hits that wipes out civilization on the top. So if you start thinking about ancient civilizations, you start thinking about all this stuff, Hollow Earth is not a bad opinion or option for us to be, because if I know something is coming, it's going to destroy. And we've heard all the ancient ant people stories, how the ant people came up and saved civilization by bringing us down into the ant underneath into the floods, and all this was over and we was able to live. And they taught, I did a video on that, right? You can go back and look. But once again, it goes back to the conspiracy of that. So why wouldn't they want us to know that Hollow Earth exists? Now, that one you can probably say, because that's the best place to hide in plain sight. It's the best place to do some things. Now, how would they emulate the sunshine, or how would they emulate rain and summer, spring, and fall down there? Because every movie I've seen, it has its own light source or something, right? It has its own, and that's a different story too. So let me look in here and go. Yeah, Admiral Byrd. I mean, I'm down with that one as well. All right, so let me look back up here. In Jarrell said at least elaborate the cave systems. Yeah, they have elaborate cave systems. I'm with you on that. I think it's on that. And so once again, let's we'll put our music back in play. Here we go. I need questions. Hollow Earth. Who lives there and why? Let's think about it. Who lives? Well, we know the reptilians, and we know there's people. Now, we know the rich people are building bunkers because of the zombies and all of that's coming out. I was watching a guy on Instagram today, and he was building a fence around his house, big ass fence. And one of the things he said, this is a zombie lock. I said, a zombie lock? Like, it actually exists. People are selling zombie locks. People, we need to look into that. We need to really look into seeing what's going on. Because all the studying that I'm doing now, it proves that civilization comes and goes. I don't know when ours were in, but it comes and goes. So when we think about the Mayans and you think about the Egyptians, and these people come and go. So when do we leave? When do our whole civilization get wiped out? But do we go to Hollow Earth and say, now we can live no matter what happens on the top? Let's look into that. All right, we need to do it. Let's look into that. All right. Or else, whatever y'all want. We'll look into that all the way. The other part of that is, how about and let me see here. Yeah. So Hollow Earth is, let me look and see what y'all saying here about the Italian red wine. That, yeah, you need to listen to Eric DeWitt. Okay, we can find that. I wonder if they're blind. Yeah, you know what? You would think about it without them. If you think about all the movies, Philip Cat, that, yeah, it's tough down there and they can be blind or whatever. But I think that'll be something to really think about. All right, so let's go into another conspiracy and see if what we can look at. Now, I think we all come in agreement that New World Order. Now, this theory claims a powerful secret group is working to establish a totalitarian one world government and infuse paranoia. Now, New World Order, I'm down with the program that it's probably something that exists, okay? And why not? Because as I start delving into secret societies and everything else, and I don't have to look in and try to break it down, a conspiracy to conspire. What's the contradictory? The overriding suspicion. The N would be a nefarious intent. S is something must be wrong. P is there a persecuted victim. I immune to evidence, and reinterpreting randomness. A New World Order makes a lot of sense. And why wouldn't somebody wants to do that? Now, where it turns around is when I started doing my research recently, and I started looking at all these secret societies. They all seem to have the same playbook. They all seem to have an agenda, and that is to instill their way of thinking and logic and get the world to think like them. But if you start thinking about the world, they're not saying we just want to tap into the United States of America, or we want to tap into South Africa, or we want to tap into Australia. It's the world. So all of them have a New World Order agenda. And why would we want to be under one totalitarian government style in the world? I mean, like I say, now we went back to the false flag operations. A new world order would have to implement some type of false flag operation. So this is where you can get two conspiracies all in one. You can get two lies could be true, so to speak, right? And that is something that I would think that we would have to do. Bryant says, if the moon could possibly be hollow, reported by NASA once upon a time. Yeah, all right. I have right here. We're going to talk about the moon landing in a few seconds. As far as a conspiracy, we can do that, and I think it's something to look at. But a new world order, I think everybody's trying to put that in place. Every secret society. Now, I have now beginning to look back in time. See, Earth is young. I just want y'all to know that Earth is a young planet within the cosmos. It's very young. Earth has probably only been here, I don't know, maybe some thousands, hundreds of thousands, million years or whatever. The galaxy has been around. So all these other planets, Mars and everything else in the solar system. So our sun and the moon and all that for Earth and the planets is here. But this is why we get when these people come from other places. When they come from other places, then it's like they came here and said, we're going to use Earth. Remember I said Earth is this project planet, and now they can put all their stuff together here. They can put a species, they can put some type of plant life and all of this stuff. So when you now, where I'm going with this, and let me not be so vague here, the secret society playbook is probably from aliens from somewhere else. Somewhere else said, this is how you rule a bunch of people, because remember the book Alien Interview that we've been talking about, the Ariel, she said that there are corporations and companies that are out there that's been in existence. So when I'm reading this other book too, it's like we're a young species compared to what's out there in the galaxy. And some of these aliens discover Earth. And so now when you think about businesses and corporations, apparently this stuff has been around on other planets, and now they incorporate those things here. This is where the secret society say, okay, we're going to implement religion, right? We're going to implement all of these different things so you can control billions of people. It's a not so much complex as it can get. Awakening says, Diva, look on the Google Terra Infinite map. Okay, you can see something there. Obe said, lies world is called paradise. Yes, all right. Cosmology says, so this is in regard to a new world order and false flag. Do you think the false flags can be for suspension of the Constitution and turn it to an active? I don't think that the false flags is, hang on. That's a great question too, but let's go with that. And I'll put the question back up. Martial law and all these things. So we have within our Constitution, there's plenty of scapegoats where they can activate one thing to oversee something else, like FEMA and all this stuff. They can, when they are turned on, law changes, everything changes. I don't think they need a false flag to for the suspension of the Constitution. That's not gonna, that's small potatoes. The false flag will get all the if it's an alien invasion type, all the world powers to do something like we have now, this council, or we have some type of the WHO organizations, and then they all can say, okay, we're going to act as one. But I think the shadow government stuff has always been here. They've been here in operating as we know today, right? And so that part is there. Because when we think of our, executive branch, we think of, the congressional, in other words, the whole presidential type thing. Everybody should know by now, there's something else higher than that that's operating, pulling the strings. We do know that goes down. And whatever it is, or whoever those group of cabals are, they're multinational. And this is why the Bilderberg groups and all this stuff exists, because they are a coalition between all of these different world governments and everything else. I don't know if I answered that right, but the whole point is, I will say that the New World Order is, the false flag will be used to stir trouble, but the New World Order has already been a plan, and it's been a plan hundreds of years ago, right? And so they've been working on that since day one, and they're getting bigger and bigger. Nicole says, bring the world governments together, trying to create an exclusive global society, but really implementing. Yeah, 100%. That's where I was going with that, because in order to implement a new world order like that and call it world order, you have to bring all the governments. And the problem with that is people saying, well, why your government is going to rule over our government, and this is why we have our strong military might. But then the religious sector checks in now, because now religiously some people don't believe in this and believe in that, and it's just a fight, and more wars are fought over religion than anything else. But what happens when the revelation of the extraterrestrials show up and it taint everybody's religious beliefs? That could be a plan. That could be an action plan. Why not? And I think they pretty much, man, I'm waiting on my hair to grow back more. I'm telling you, I was so upset. This is why I look like a ragamuffin. I'm telling y'all. Oh, y'all see my hat? Let me show you the back of my hat. I put my little third eye on my hat today. All right, so there we go. That's the back of the hat. But anyway, yeah, it grows back pretty quick, and the guy cut it. He cut it off, and I'm still a little upset. I kind of realized the conspiracy of it, that I used to let him cut it, then his brother was cutting it, and it just don't make sense to me. You sit down in a barber chair and you says, hey, I want you to take half off my beard, and y'all see my beard was that long. Half off will even be higher than this. And when he went down the side of my face, I was like, dude, that is, whatever, Yeah, so that's my eyes in the back of my head. So let me turn it back around. Yeah. Yeah, so there we go. So that's my eyes in the back of my head, so that anybody who's behind me, and they kind of know, okay, this is where we are. So anyway, Maya says the dollar would fall hard to implement one currency. Well, they've been trying to do that for quite some time. They've been trying, and this is why you hear people with the rumor that all of a sudden we have these things that's out there, like Brit or whatever, the dollar. Everybody's trying to bring down American dollar. They're not going to ever do that. I don't care what anybody said. Don't go thinking another small countries or group of them can bring down the U.S. currency. Our currency is owned by Britain anyway. They own the country anyway. If y'all didn't know that, they the one who gave us the money to set the United States up with a blank check back in the eon days anyway. So they're not going to break their own dollar. They own it. They own us. They've been owning us. That's who actually owns the United States. We're not owned by us. We're owned by the Brits. They've been Rockefellers and the Brits. They the one who loaned us the money a long time ago. Go check it out. Go do that for yourself, and then you'll know. All right. So, yeah, we have to look into those things and just kind of go from there. Let's go into the conspiracy of the Illuminati control. Let's think about the control of the Illuminati. This suggests that the Illuminati, a secret society, controls the world through finance and media. Now, I've said that when you start looking at all these signs and, the way they hold in their hands and all this stuff, and you have to, respect the Illuminati or, be part of it. And I used to get email. Somebody used to email, I don't know who it was, we want to invite you to the Illuminati. I'm like, this is the way y'all do that? Y'all make, I would think they'll leave a fucking note on my porch or a little envelope and shit and say, you need to come to this special meeting. And pretty much, so you would think that would be the deal, but that is not it. I'm like, okay, fine. I don't know, but the other part is the fact that the Illuminati exists along with other secret societies. See, my guess is all these secret societies, all it takes is like 4 or 5 of us in a secret society. One of us get pissed off, and then you go start yours. I was called a UFOologist world or whatever. Then the next one's called, Moonbeam or whatever. And they all began to branch off doing what they're doing, but they still use the same playbook: religion, control, and all of that stuff, and controlling the money, power, and everything else. So what would be the reason? What would be the reason for the Illuminati or someone else says that I want to control this, I want to control the world. Now that goes back to the New World Order. That goes back to the false flag. See, now all of these conspiracy things can tie into each other. That can go back to, okay, so now we can go back to the Illuminati. The Illuminati can say, we want to control the world through a New World Order. In order for us, the Illuminati, which is a conspiracy, New World Order, and then all of a sudden we're going to use some false flags to do it. And then you go all the way back, who's behind the Illuminati? They're getting their secrets from the Reptilians. Right? You get what I'm saying? And the Reptilians is behind the scenes feeding the Illuminati ancient civilization type knowledge that they don't want everybody to know. And it just breaks down from there. It just goes from there. This stuff is real. It is real as it gets. Diana says, why did our government let China buy land next to our military bases? Well, it's not about the government allowing China to buy land. It's if you own the property and it's next to a government base, you can sell it. That's our constitutional right. Whoever the landowner can sell it, and they can't just swipe up your land talking about national security, and why would a military base be upset that China bought land next to them? That'd be the perfect place to let their ass set up something next to a military base. I mean, they're going to get wiped out in seconds if something nefarious was happening there, right? But as Nicole said earlier, China owns a lot of these countries own us financially, and they've been doing this for quite some time. But it's just the way it goes. So I think it's pretty much for you to kind of look into these things, and you want to know about the conspiracies. Now, the biggest one of them all is the religious one. We all should know that by now, right? We should know that the religious side of religion is the biggest of them all, and starting with the story of Jesus Christ, right? That is probably the best. How they say it's the greatest story ever told. It's the best one. But what makes it so interesting, if you go back, you can look into all these different types of religion. They all have a Jesus Christ story, just a different name of the individual within it. It's like they all took the same playbook, and so we're gonna run this story. We can go back into thinking about the stories, the Son and the Lord's Supper. I'm gonna do a video on that, breaking that down to where it used to be. I'm thinking, it's Jesus and the apostles and Mary and all that sitting there having the Last Supper, when it's really the Zodiacs, right? It's the 12 Zodiacs. And, so you start thinking about all these things of, oh man, it's bad, is negative. And there's so much conspiracy out there that it's no play. It is one of those things. So Michael says, in my opinion, Illuminati is a distraction to keep people talking and guessing, because if it was a secret, the whole world would not know why the real secret society knows about. Well, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say if it was a secret, nobody would know. I think the key to make a power situation work is that you want the world to know that something exists. It's almost like the greatest gift that the devil supposedly pulled off was that he didn't exist. Now, if you start looking back in ancient times, it wasn't really the devil. It was just the fact that when you had the sun and you had nighttime, right? So nighttime, humans felt the most vulnerable. And this is where things happen. And this is where the terminology Prince of Darkness came from. And then, of course, Jesus is the Lord of Light, or the Son of Light. So the darkness, and I'm not getting into all that, but where I'm going with this is it's not the fact that the Illuminati is so secret that nobody should know about them. That's not where the power is. The power is not hiding completely. The power is knowing it exists, but not knowing what it's capable of. That's the power. It's no different than a woman looking at you and say, you have no idea what I'm capable of. You better be scared of that chick. You get what I'm saying? She got secrets, but you don't know. So you rather somebody know that you exist. It's no different than knowing that our military exists, but they don't know the total military capabilities until it's too late. So they're not hiding that part. They have to, and nobody else would join them if they didn't know that there exists. If y'all get where I'm going with that, I think it's just one of those things to look at it and say, okay, this is how it's going to go. All right, so let's go into the Philadelphia experience. This is probably one of the biggest other conspiracies out there. This theory claims that our government experimented with teleportation, time travel. Now, this is way back in when, right? No telling what the technology is today. But if you're going to think about it, why would they want to deal with time travel? Now, that can go all the way back into what we call teleportation, time travel. Now, can you go back and change the world? Can somebody say, I'm going to go back and I'm going to change the world? Y'all get what I'm saying, right? Or I know the future. Why wouldn't somebody do that? Now, if our world is working in different timelines, like some people say it is, then time travel is really kind of irrelevant to change a specific situation because the timelines are all different. And just like anything else, it can be altered instantaneously. And now you got 4 and 5, 6 timelines happen. So you can't really change the past of that. I would think you would want to look more, how do I shift over into the timeline where I'm a king and I shift over to this one, I weigh 122 pounds. You get what I'm saying? Would I want to go over there or would I want to stay over here? That it's all speculation. I'm just talking at the side of my neck. But the whole point is that would be the one. Why would we want to have this time travel type stuff? Someone else has a question. Kim says, my question is, who follows people back from thousands of days to tell so many stories to make a story? Who follows the people? Well, all right, here's my answer to that. And y'all can write this down. I just got to see how I will put it out. The problem is where really who follows the people. What happens is it's when people see authority as the truth, okay? When people see authority as the truth and not seeing truth as the authority, if y'all get where I'm going with that, right? And authority could be a metaphor to represent people, politicians, things, stories, whatever, and the authority is seen as the truth. Because now the authority can lie, it can manipulate, it can be whatever. But the truth as the authority, if that's how we're supposed to operate, then we wouldn't have where millions and thousands of people are following stories, because the truth will be the authority. Y'all with me on that? I'm trying to put that together. But the whole point I'm saying is that's the problem, literally, when it comes down to that. Northern Downpour says, I was literally discussing time travel with a friend a few minutes ago. He let me know it's not necessarily linear. Well, I mean, yeah, okay, well, we can get with that. That makes sense. From that point, that makes a lot of sense when it comes down to that. And pretty much, Lillian said, I wish I can go back in time and change quite a few things in my life. Well, it may be pretty good to say that, but we've all seen the movies. Literally, you go back and you change one thing and it changes a multitude of things. How would we do whatever, or will we be willing to accept it? Now, somebody says we're going to take you back in time, but all of a sudden it changes who you're married to, the children that you got, where you stand, and the little things like the butterfly effect, and it changes a lot of things. I think we may want to change, I made a left choice this time, or had I not, slept with this guy, or maybe I didn't, go to this job that day. Who knows? But I think the ripple effect of that is much more, outweighs more than anything else when it comes down to those things. And we can put that from there. Nicole says, I'm with you. Thank you. Tina says, hey, has the invite to the ebook club been sent? We put the list together today. Great question. Monica got the list of all the invites for the book club, and she said that she will email out this weekend. I want to thank everybody who's in it. You guys are going to be an exciting. I'm even thinking that some of these Fridays will be our book club Friday for our members of the book club. So we can discuss have a show on what we are all talking about. And I think that'd be really good having everybody who is part of the book club up on stage, and for the ones who want to, and talking about what we're going over and learning as a collective. I think that might be really powerful too, as well. So I'm looking into it, but Monica has the list. Now, if any of you want to get on there before we close this out, you can buy it, but pretty soon. I'm going to close out the book club invites because we got a lot of people. That's great. And we'll see how it filters from there for those. Everybody who got the 400 ebooks will get the invite over the weekend. And then those people, you all can change to do that. But if you want, and last call or two for that, if you want to go ahead and cash out right now, why the big secret, $40. And you're going to get a drive right here with all these different ebooks and documents, which we're going to use for the book club. And you might just need it for yourself. It's a huge value. You cash out, why the big secret, and then you will be able to get that, or you can go to the website and download. But you do the cash app. I'll send you a link tonight, later on tonight, and from there. But the cash app should be over in the chat. There you go. And if you do tonight, I'll give you a shout out. So I would love for a few more of you to support what we're doing. And I'm going to give some of you a shout out when we do a few other things too. Okay. So with that being said, let's keep moving in doing that. It is a very large list. Oh, you mean a large list of people? There's a few people. I wish there was more of you that is into the book club or even supporting you. What y'all are doing, some of y'all are supporting my first mini documentary that I'm working on, and I'm gonna give some of these people at the end of it a shout out or whatever. But I wish it was a lot more, so I'm gonna have to turn to some other methods to raise some funds and stuff. But it's okay for those of you who have already been there, helped in doing this. It was more than I thought. I wish it was more, but I just love all of you who are participating, not only with the book club, but getting that information and then at the same time. And so, like I said, if it was just a few more of you, that's fine. You can do it tonight, and I'll give you a love shout out tonight. Okay. And pretty much from there. All right. So another conspiracy is the Montauk Project. Well, I think I said that already. Now, the Montauk is a little different. No, I didn't, but it's different than the Philadelphia. This thing is similar to the Philadelphia experiment, but this theory claims that the government conducted time travel and mind-controlled experiments once again. Now, if you think about the movie series Stranger Things, it was based on the Montauk Project. And all of that story was written from the Montauk Project, okay? And they just don't make this stuff up, people. There were some true people who said they was part of this Montauk Project or Stranger Things type stuff. And so it makes you wonder when you start looking at these things, how deep does this rabbit hole really goes? And then it started making you wonder also, or for me, the human civilization and what do we think we know? Because I've told y'all before, I don't think we know jack. We don't know nothing. Let me put my hat back on the other way. I need my eyes in the back of my head at all times. Yeah, there we go. Well, that eye, but then this one too. I have, but the Montauk Project, I'm saying, the movie Stranger Things hit that stuff right on the button, right? I mean, right, boom, it hit it. And there was a lot going on there. But the conspiracy to it again is why. You know, we need to know why. Now, I'm not against exploration. I'm not against the government or anybody. So we want to figure out time travel, or we want to figure out mind control is a little different. Mind control is a little different. Now, I'm going to give y'all something that I'm doing. I'm just going to read something to you. I am working and studying on it's not mind control, but it's more of a conscious thing. And the document is from the Monroe Institute. Okay. It's from and make sure, Matthew, thank you for the book club. Make sure you give me your email address if it's not in there. We got to have it. Yeah. So you might have to send another $1, but put your email address, Matthew, so that we can send you the link. I appreciate y'all. Give Matthew a shout out for being part of the thing. Now, what I'm going to read y'all, I'm just going to read y'all something real quick, okay? And I'm only saying this because this is what I'm studying and it's working. This is just the affirmation that you would do. And I'm really not knowing if I need to be doing this, but I guess y'all won't mind. You know, oh man, appreciate it, Matthew. Oh, the man. Y'all give him a shout out. He said, man, here's the deal. Here we go. All right. So what I'm going to do is read you all the all right. So every night before I get ready to tap in, and my knowledge has been expanding greatly. This is just a part one. And I may send some of y'all this. Okay. It may not. I don't know. This is it's a CIA program on how to expand your mind. Okay. And it teaches you breathing exercises and everything else. But there is a affirmation that you will say, and you will start out by saying, I'm going to read y'all my affirmation. I do this every night before I start studying. I'm working on connecting with some people out there. Now, I learned this a little bit too when I met the people down in Oregon when I told y'all about that. Okay. So the affirmation is, I am more than my physical body because I'm more than physical matter. I can perceive that which is greater than the physical world. And therefore, in these exercises, I'm deeply desired to expand, experience, to know, to understand, to control, to use such greater energies and energy systems and beneficial and constructive to me and to those who follow me. Also, doing these exercises, I deeply desire to help incorporation, the assistance, and the understanding of those individuals whose wisdom, development, experience is equal and greater to my own. And I ask the guidance, protection from any influence or any source that may provide me with less than my stated desire. And I now protect myself as I may need it, such influence, and reject any source that may restrain from me my stated desires. The second affirmation, which is most powerful, is I open this channel of communication only to those whose knowledge, wisdom, development, and experience is equal or greater to my own, and I restrict such contact and communication of a constructive purpose, and reject all other. I open this channel only so that only when I consciously desire, and at other times it remain closed. This is a 10-page report that I have privately of the CIA, where they're teaching you how to. It's the system. I've been working and learning it, and it teaches you how to tap into other people, knowledge and wisdom all over, and it is working. You do your breathing exercise. You got to get in there. This is CIA from the Monroe Institute. Okay. I got the documents, man. And it is not just the affirmation. It's the whole 10-page system that the CIA did with the Monroe Institute for people now to do remote viewing. You can send messages to each other. I got somebody else I'm working with. It's working. You can send messages. It's really powerful. It's scary. That's for my inner circle. But I got the documents. It was given to me, and I may share it with some people. And it is not just it teaches you each C steps, the breathing. Then it teaches you how to go into the next part, how to do some other stuff. It'll teach you. In fact, it'll teach you. It teach you the exercises. It teach you how to reach focus from the consciousness. It teach you how for the energy bar. It's called an energy bar tool. It teaches you how to use a living body map and how to recharge. It teaches you how to perceive distance events and people, like remote viewing. It teaches you this. It gets you into what it calls focus 12 and return awareness, problem solving. That's working. And I'm telling you, I've been doing it. Y'all going to be watching. You can watch my conversation shifting now. And it's just pretty cool. It is to that. But anyway, give Matthew. Was it Matthew on here? Yeah. All right. Anyway, y'all, I did that already, but y'all give Matthew for joining the book club and Cash App and some stuff. And pretty much, yeah. So it is so powerful. And like I said, I've been studying it, and yeah, I got you. Yeah, I got you, Nicole. So it's because we gotta learn how to send messages to each other. So and then we're going to practice it. So, and I only, if I send it to a couple of people, I'm not going to send it to, unless we're going to work on this together and our power of doing stuff, that's fine. But I'm not doing an independent thing, but I know my team, we're going to do that because we're going to advance in this thing. And I got some hell of other stuff too. So it's like, some shit, I'm telling you. But yeah, so it gives you the diagrams, it gives you the breathing exercises, it gives you how to breathe in your body, it teaches you how to take like these non-positive stuff, it gives you the visualization of how to put this in this little box. And the CIA is teaching people this. I mean, not people, but they're operatives. And then it teaches you how, and it works, how you can then flush this out, and then how your body will tap into the energy of the earth. And it teaches you how to put the protection light around you. And I guarantee you, some of y'all now can be trying to tap in. You ain't getting in no more. It teaches you how to block all that kind of shit, and practice and see what y'all get. I got some fake information that you'll get, like, but this is real stuff. The CIA, this is real mind-boggling stuff that they are doing and teaching, and then it's like it is off the chart. But nothing will be as well ever again. Watch, just pay attention to my development, and over the next months to come, my conversation shifts and the knowledge. And everything you're just gonna see it. It's fascinating, everything. It's like beautiful. All right, so another one of the other conspiracies that we'll talk about right now is the HAARP weather control. Now, I really believe that this particular equipment and stuff exists. Okay, HAARP is the High Frequency Active Aurora Research Program, and it's used to control the weather or cause natural disasters. Well, it was intentional, just like anything else when somebody makes it. There was a family in Alaska area that created this because they wanted to make it rain in countries and places that was having problem with the weather. But then the government saw it and said, oh, no, we can get the power of this. And people are saying that they've been using this thing and practicing making tsunamis or earthquakes and all these different stuff, and they can do it anywhere they want. And it's in plain sight. Now, this is in plain sight. All right. It's really in plain sight. You got to go check that one out for yourself and go look and see. But I think it's one of those deals when it comes down to it. But HAARP exists. Jesse Ventura, which I had him on my Clubhouse show, and actually I'm reaching out for him to do some things. I'm planning on putting some stuff out for him to be on my show. I actually got his son number. I got his number. And I was his UFO guy on Clubhouse and stuff. So I'm going to reach out and do some things. Y'all, and again, we're going to see some whole new stuff coming out, man, and everything else. And I have some real good news. And I'll mention that in about 30 more days of something that was just, and it's separate from other stuff too. Man, all this stuff is good. It's really good. The universe is really good. MK Ultra, we talked about that. The theory that the CIA conducted unethical mind-controlled experiments in unsuspecting citizens. While there is some truth in this, the extent is often exaggerated, leading to paranoia and distrust in the mental health institutions. Well, I don't know about that. I think that, look at what happened in Dubai. Out of all places, Dubai started flooding. You think somebody didn't do that deliberately to make sure that they can because Dubai was making their own ecosystem. These guys said, forget us trying to, you go over to Tahiti, or forget that you're going to go over here. We're going to bring Tahiti to you or here. We're going to make the most elaborate place in the world. Okay. And we're just going to create this stuff. And all of a sudden, this place is flooding. And you would think out of all the ingenuity, all the money and everything, they didn't see that one coming. Oh, yeah. Go look it up. Man, it is crazy. It is crazy, crazy, crazy. But anyway, Ventura died a couple of years ago. No, he's still around. He was on Clubhouse. You talk about Jesse Ventura. No, he's good. All right, so unless he is, y'all may can find that out, but I don't think he is, pretty much on that and see, you know what I'm saying? He is Yeah, he's pretty much. Yeah, check it out. Somebody Google it and let me know if Justin Ventura is still around. And then we'll know. Man, I need some coconut water. What do I do with my coconut water? All right, so let me all right, I'm going to take a break and go over here. I'll be back in 22 seconds to get some coconut water. I'm going to drink some coconut water. I'm thirsty. And I have some grapes too that I want to get. And in the meantime, I'll put this on the board just for any of you to hopefully a few more of you join the book club and cash out for the books. I'll be right back. Let me just sit this right here. All right, I'll be right back. 30 seconds. All righty. Okay. Sorry about that. Just took to go over there and get me some coconut water. Yeah, some good stuff, man. Yeah, some good stuff. 100% virgin coconut water and some big old grapes, right? Really big grapes. All right, so let me continue so we can continue our conversation and pretty much from there. And yes, we could do that. All right, so at the end of the day, and y'all welcome Lillian to our club today. And yes, I sent out your email already, so you can go and check that out. Another part is let's talk about the secret space program. Now, Nicole sent me some information the other day. And this guy, Nicole, I was reading, and it was a question I was going to ask you about all that too. But this guy claimed that he was part of the secret space program. He went, he came back, he went and came back. And they take you into the secret space program where he's going to be gone for like 20 or 30 years, or Earth time. But when he come back, it's almost like he's never left before. And only thing I didn't really think about it, Nicole, was that when he came back from the secret space program, he said he came back to the room where he started. So wouldn't a person that was sitting in that room kind of know that this guy's gone and he's been gone, but now he's back? It's like, at what point can they turn back the clock to a certain point and everybody didn't know the person was gone? You know what I mean? It's kind of weird, but I was reading all that stuff that you were talking about and pretty much from there. And so we're going to talk about that. We're going to really talk about that as well. One of the things I don't know much about conspiracy out there is the black-eyed children. Anybody know anything about that? It's believed that these are paranormal children with solid black eyes who are said to be demons or aliens, but it's black-eyed children. I have never researched the story. I would love to get somebody's insight in the chat if you've heard about the black-eyed children. That'll be something really cool to hear about. Well, I haven't heard about it. Yeah, it's called a black-eyed. y'all, let me tell you, these grapes, you see how big these grapes are? I don't know if that's nature or somebody, but these some look. See that? Some big ass gold grapes. A bit. All right, Sonia says she's heard about them. What have you heard about the black-eyed children? Let me know. Put it in the chat. I want to know about that. I don't know much about them. Okay, so how many of you heard more of the conspiracy of the Mandela effect? The belief that a shared memories of the past events has been altered, suggesting alternate realities or time manipulation. I've seen a lot of stuff on that where people like, this has already happened over here, or this has happened. It's kind of like really weird. Michael said he's heard about that a guy was saying that he had age regression tech to make them the age that he left before the day he returned. Yeah, I don't know about that. That's just kind of something I've read it, but I'm not really for sure. Roger said pork rings from him. Northern said apparently it started in North Texas, and more especially, I'm not for sure what started in North Texas. Maybe I asked the question. I'm not really for sure. The black-eyed children or something. Yeah, the Mandela effect is supposed to be weird. It is really freaking weird. Okay, and there's people who are contesting to that today. All right, and so I don't know much information about that. I really don't. But there are people who are supposed to be today are saying that darn Mandela effect is in full effect. In other words, I'm saying that it actually is going on. I don't know about that much, but this is what they're saying, and pretty much. So anybody know anything about that? That'll be pretty cool to get more information. Sonia said she's talking about the kids there. It's almost like the children need to be invited into your house, kind of like a vampire. Well, who in the hell would do that? Who in the hell would have some children with some black eyes walk up to your porch saying, Mr. and Mrs. Martin, Roderick, can I come into your house? Hell no. You know, and it could be raining, thundering, and lightning. And are you going to let them in? And there's some black-eyed kids? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't know. Especially based on what they look like. Well, they talk about the Denver airport conspiracy. Now, this one's in real time, people. The theory that the Denver International Airport is a secret base for the Illuminati or New World Order. Now, have anybody flew in that airport before? That is a crazy place. This fucking thing got gargoyles and all that kind of shit in it, right? That is a crazy place. I fly through there many occasions, by the way. And that place gives you the creeps, the paintings and everything else. But you hear that it took and one of the conspiracy of it, you go back, it had a construction dollar amount in the past that it was like supposed to be X amount of millions to build. Not only it went over like quadruple, and then it also took extra time, which almost people are saying that this is when they discovered or began this is the perfect place to build the alien base. I don't know. And if it was reptilian base, why would they want to be in Denver? Because it's too cold, right? You know, they need to be somewhere else. But obviously, this was something very crazy. All right. Michael says we're going back to the Mandela effect. That says that it's like small details, but stuff changed. But then when you look into it, it always been that way. Yeah. So I think they call it it came from Nelson Mandela. Of course, the name came from there. And supposedly either he was already alive or either something where it was that he had already dead, but he wasn't dead. I forget how it went, but whatever it was, it came from that part. All right. So Monica says that the Denver airport is a portal. All right. Well, you hear so much weird stuff about that one. You really do. You hear a lot of weird stuff. Man, I love this coconut water. I get it from this Oriental place they ship it in. It's 100%. It's not the kind you buy at the store where you're going to get sugar and 10% sugar. This is 100% coconut water, you know. And at first I wouldn't drink this stuff, but now it's acquired taste. It is good. Yeah. Okay. So Mandela died twice or not. Yeah, there we go. So that was the whole point, that people were talking about it in a different way. So it was really, really cool from there. All right. Oh, shit. Yeah, hold on. I'm doing something that do not needs to happen. My computer and water do not mix. All right. So there we go. They do not mix. All right, back to all right, so everyone remembers Mandela dying in jail in the 80s, and when the history said he actually died in 2013. Okay. All right. That's why they came up with the name. Tina said, I live in Denver area and live northeast of the airport. So, Tina, what are your stories about the Denver airport? I'm sure you live there. You've been there before. So what are your stories about that place? What are some of the things that you encounter living there, or the stories? Because we hearing them from abroad, but since you're near there, you probably hear something more than we ever would do when it comes down to that. Then you have the one of the biggest conspiracies at the point, and I'm not even going to go into this, but this dude is getting beat up over it like he should, was the Sandy Hook conspiracy. I just read in a paper today that Alex Jones, now he's forced to sell InfoWars, which was called Free whatever company, whatever behind it. And he was pretty much from there. All right. So what I'm going to do, Nicole, I'm going to do this right now. Hang on a second. Okay. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. Nicole, can you hop on screen? I want you to let me know if you can or not. I'm going to send you this CIA document. I don't want you to read it out loud, but I want you to go over it while we're on the screen with the people. Just tell me your thoughts without telling them what it is about what you're seeing, though. You available to do that? Let me know. Let me email you a link. Okay. And I'm going to attach a file for you. All right, it's all done. All right, so check your email. I sent you a link to the show, and I sent you the CIA training of that power of consciousness training. I want you to scan through that real quick. Like I say, we don't tell them specifically, but just give me your expression and take of what you see. I'm blown away. I'm using it. It is like incredible. So let me see. So when you get it, check email and then hop on this link. And it's scary too, because I don't think it needs to be in the hands of everybody, though. Some people, man, these grapes are good. I got a bag of big old ass grapes, man. They're really good. And some coconut water. You can't beat that. All right, while Nicole is getting that, let me keep going. Jason, I'm making them hungry, man. Come on with it. Come on with it. All right, so underground alien bases. I think we talked about that. Well, we haven't really talked about that, but we'll talk about the underground alien bases, okay? Now, I used to eat the green grapes, but I don't know. And then I had them dark teardrop grapes, and those are a little different too, and pretty much. But the theories about the secret underground bases is where the government collaborate with aliens. Now, why not? Like we said earlier, of having hollow Earth, would that be a great place for bases? But why would the government, if anything, conspiracy, why would they want to collaborate with extraterrestrials? Well, hell, why not? I know I would and is doing, right? It would be the best thing you can do. Why freaking not? Okay. It's one of the things that you could do. All right. It is, by far, why wouldn't they do it? And like I said, there's a lot of different alien races out there. There's not just one or two that we think. There's a bunch of them out there. And when it gets down to this, she said, I see the link, but I don't see the document was attached. So look for it as an attachment. If not, I'll resend it separate. Let me go back to my email and I'll resend this separately to you. Okay. I'm going to send it separate again. I'm going to attach it. There we go. All right. Boom. Here. All right. So check email again. And I sent it. Oh, okay. Got it. Just didn't realize it was yeah. Okay. Well, I sent it a second time. But protect that. Please protect that. I promised I would from the officials that gave it to me. But I guess I didn't now. They'll be like, oh, dude, I'm going to show you nothing else. But anyway, underground alien bases where the government collaborate with that. Then we have Project Bluebeam. This theory is that the globalist elite will use holographic technology to simulate an alien invasion and the second coming of Christ. All right. Let me stop right there. When they're talking about the second coming of Christ, he has risen. And here's something that I want to just share with y'all. In my tapping into the using the CIA stuff that I'm learning, I began to come across the information that you can probably search for yourself if you find it deep enough. But anyway, when they start talking about he in the return of Christ, well, the technical thing is this. The sun has a movement and Christ came from the sun. We'll get into that. This is why you see the sun part of Project Black. We'll talk about that. But the whole point is that the earth, every year, then at December the 22nd, the earth hits the most southern point of a degrees within our atmosphere and everything else. And because it's moving all year round. The sun, I'm sorry. Well, on the December 22nd, it stands still for 3 days. December 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. And then on the 25th, it begins to rise again. This came all the way back from the ancient civilizations. And this is where you get, he has risen. Because the son of God, which was represent as Jesus as being the son of God. So the son, and okay, and once again, without me going into detail, but anyway, he has risen. So Jesus Christ was always worshiped from the sun. Okay. And so when that sun begins to go back up on December the 25th, this is why you get the birth. He has risen. He's now back, or Easter, the 3 days, rise from the dead in 3 days. It's from the sun. Okay. And I can go into that real deep, and we plan on doing all of that. So, and Nicole, I know you're looking over there. Don't be, girl, I know you got it, man. I ain't saying don't be, but you should be blown away right by now. I know you are. I know you're blown away. So that's where you hear that particular part. And when they're talking about the second coming, I just don't think that's going to be available if people knew the truth, that people will buy into that he is risen, he's back, and all that, when it never existed in the first place, right? You can look that up yourself. Sci-Fi says she went to the underworld for 3 days long before he died. He was taken up by a ship, okay? The cross was an arrow ship, okay? Goes dark, died, rises again. Yeah, this is where we get the sunset. When the sun goes dark, you come again. The sun is where we get the principalities of evil, Seth. It's just so many stories that we're going to be doing. Did we lose Nicole? Where happened? Was I not supposed to send that secret document? Did she get abducted or something? You know what I'm saying? Did she get abducted? God dang it. Yeah. But what if she did? All right. Well, she'll be back. Well, anyway, you got the link. When you come in at the bottom, we will see all of that stuff. There she is. Hang on. Hey,
I did not get abducted.
Look, I'm like, did she get abducted? Was I not supposed to?
No, I was reading the document.
How powerful is that shit?
The same. I am excited to do it. I'm excited to do it.
I mean, give me, without telling them what it, because I can't know. But when you saw that, and what was your thoughts? Because me, I was like, and now, because those two affirmations is just the beginning of it, right? You know. But this is from the Monroe Institute. It's the CIA stuff. Yeah. But all the capabilities that you're going to learn to do, I was like, and I'm already using it. Okay. I've been doing it for the last two weeks now, and I'm growing more and more at it. And it is like unfreaking believable. But I don't think it should be in everybody's hands. And I know why they wouldn't.
Right.
Because that gives you those superpowers. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. What do you
know? I mean, I've known about the breathing thing for a while.
Okay.
So like how you breathe, like especially like when you meditate, how you breathing.
Yeah. And I think most people know about that because
that's a pretty
different form, right? Yeah.
But I think that the methodology that they're showing is a little bit different than what I've always thought it would be. So I was like, oh wow, I didn't think about it that way. So like when you're breathing, like what you're consciously thinking about while you're breathing, and not just like, oh, I'm just taking deep breaths.
Yes.
It's more like I'm inhaling the cosmic energy that's around me.
And it's like, that's the whole point of saying, we're going to take you out of your body to where now you're going to be hooked up this cosmic, and it's all about the energy, right?
Right.
And the diagrams that they show you for your body, I thought that was really good. Because again, it's like, and then the worksheet. I mean, the actual worksheet, like, damn, these fuckers are doing this shit, you know? And like I said, I was like,
it's cool. And I had listened to an interview.
I'm finna block our own moderator for 5 seconds. She type of stop doing it. She type of stop saying that. I just want y'all to know we plugged in, but you can't put all this stuff out there like that.
Yeah, it's not for everybody. And
hell no. Not that.
It can be probably used in the wrong hands. And like I watched the interview with Joe McGonigal, who actually teaches remote viewing at the Monroe Institute. And he did it for, the military for many years, got many different accolades for doing it. And he's remote viewed, I think, like the moon and Mars and all kinds of places. And it's fascinating. Once I listened to his interview, I was like, I need to learn how to do this. And he talked about the breathing, and he talked about,
you got it right there.
Being out of his body. So I was like, oh, because I can't afford to go to the Monroe Institute. It's expensive. But
well, I mean, but for them to sanction that from the CIA, you already know.
But it's
pretty much.
They work with a lot of, I think, government. I think they send people there to learn how to do it. So it's I mean, it's a real thing. I think a lot of people, you know, either don't know what remote viewing is, but it is a real thing. And
it looks like it goes deeper than just that. Remember the remote viewing, I think if you look, it's just one of the
aspects of it.
One of the aspects, right? And then it teaches you the other power and all this other stuff. And like for me, it's just, and I actually told another friend of mine, you know, I was like, hey, and it scared the fuck out of him, you know, because he was like, you know, what do you mean? And I was like practicing, and I was joking, but I was right. And it's like, dude, you can't. I don't want you doing that. I'm like, dude, I didn't try it on purpose. You know what I'm saying? I'm just speaking. And we haven't talked for 3 days, you know, and it literally scared the fuck out of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn. But imagine, it makes sense because it saves the lives of all these spies and all. They don't have to go over there. Not literally. You know what I'm saying? They can go wherever they want to go. And it shows us that this world is totally different than what we think. And that's why that first affirmation said, you're more than your body. You're not, this is just nothing.
And I think a lot of people that also like, so for anybody that's, you know, listening, that's had like an NDE, near death experience, or out of body experiences. I think that's like a piece of the puzzle as well. So a lot of people say, and Joe McGonigal spoke of this, Chris Bledsoe spoke of this, and they said, you know, they had several near-death experiences, and they feel like that allowed them to access a part of their consciousness.
But they used it to go back in time, though, right? Even though, remember, they was able to go back to someone who already died in a crash and see them with
almost like
talking to them.
Not as remote viewing the current, but you're remote viewing the future possibilities, and you're remote viewing past. So like you could see, you might get a vision of something that might happen. Like, for example, like a plane crash could be a vision of that. But if you know how to remote view, you can tap into that energy and find out like the location, the coordinates, and you know.
Correct me if I'm wrong. And I know I'm teasing everybody anyway, but I didn't see it as. Even though we're talking about remote viewing, I don't think that's what this thing is about.
It's part of it. I think
it's part of it, but because it's bigger than that, right?
It's bigger than that. It's teaching you how to access that. I guess a lot of people call it the ether, right?
You can access data. You can contact other people. You can, like I've been doing, you know, studying a certain individual who's not with us anymore. And I've been and now it's so funny when I read the material, I'm actually hearing that person's voice. Read it to me, right? I'm like, this shit is freaky as fuck, right? And then, but it's powerful, but it's also saying, be careful because you can let in demons.
Yeah, it's basically like they call it the ether. So it's like that level of energy outside of us that you can tap into, and a lot of people tap into this, right? And they get their this is like where people get downloads from, you know, because it can come from the spiritual realm. It can come from, you know, extraterrestrial that are way more advanced than us, that already know how to tap into the ether, so they can send messages through that and send the downloads through that.
And it's funny that it can come from some dumbass folks when I use that term, because it's telling you specifically, make sure you say, I don't want no information from anybody who is not on my level or greater, which makes sense because each time you begin to grow, you're going to weed out a lot of stuff that you're
lot of stuff. right.
that you're beyond.
Yeah.
And then it says, make sure you keep that portal closed when I'm not using it, because I don't want to be influenced by this stuff I'm connected to.
I think it's what a lot of psychic mediums tap into. You know, some of them just naturally are, naturally born with the skill to be able to tap into it. Other people have to really work at it to tap into it. And I think that they can tap into it as well. And so that's where they get their information, because our loved ones can, exist in that realm, communication wise. So we can essentially like see our Akashic records, get messages from our loved ones. And like, you can do this in like meditative state. You can do it in the dream state. And so before I meditate, I always say like, kind of like I guess you could call it like a little prayer for protection and to block out anything negative, any negative energies, any negative entities that are trying to interfere or disrupt me while I'm trying to connect. They're not allowed in my space. So not allowed in my space, not allowed in my home. I make sure to always say that every time so that I never get that intrusion. Because you can get, like you said, you can get that intrusion because not all spirits or entities that are out there that can tap into this are, out for your best interest. Some of them are out for their best interests. And so you have to be careful. But that's when I go and I'll ask, sometimes if I know I'm going to have a dream and I want to connect in that dream, I'll ask for the protection before I go to bed. And then when I wake up, and before I go to bed, I also ask to remember, allow me to remember, and that's how I kind of learned one of my guides' names, because I asked. I had learned that from a psychic medium that said, if you want to know who your guides are, you ask them. They will tell you. You ask out loud. So I asked out loud, who are you? What are your names?
Okay.
And I said, and if you could come to me in a dream and tell me and allow me to remember. And when I woke up, I was like, when I first woke up, I was like, oh man, I don't remember anything. And then as soon as I thought that, a name popped in my head. And I was like, and it was a random name that I would never think about.
Wow.
And I was like, where did that come from? It was like an inner voice. It like came from an inner voice.
Wow.
And so I was like, oh, okay. I guess that's my guide's name, or one of my guide's names, because there's supposedly you have more than one.
Okay.
For different purposes. So I was like, oh, okay. So so now when I meditate, sometimes I'll say that guide's name and ask them for information, since I know that they're around.
Wow. Well, here's what we're gonna do. I don't know how long you can be around, but I'm gonna shut this live stream down. And then in 15 minutes, I'm gonna open up our Freaky Friday one or whatever, anything goes. And then I'll put a link for any of y'all want to jump in on the screen for the first few minutes. Y'all, I want to ask Rod anything question. I don't care what it is. Y'all can ask me anything you want.
Uh-oh, you about to open up a can of worms.
I'm opening up a can of worms. So I'm gonna give y'all an opportunity. Come on screen, ask me anything you want. New people, I'll bring up new people first who've never been here, and then some of the others. If you ain't got nothing to ask me, then I'm gonna put you back down. Okay.
New people come up. Talk. We want to hear from the new people. We like the oldies but goodies too. But
definitely, all these people
we definitely like to hear the new folks, the stories that they have, their experiences. It's awesome to hear new experiences from different people. So don't be afraid to speak up, folks. And this is a safe place to do it.
Yeah. So we got Becky in the house. She's here with us. Hello, Becky.
Hey, Becky.
And so I hope y'all listening to me. I'm getting ready to shut this live stream down so this will stay up. Look back on the page. You're going to see something says parental guidance. There's going to be a thumbnail. I'm going to have it back up. And then exactly 15 minutes, we will start our all-nighter and talk about what we want, anything we want. Y'all can say any language you want, whatever, because we're going to delete that show afterwards. But we can cut fucking loose. Are y'all with me? Everybody hear me? We're going to shut this down. And if you want to come back, you come back, and just know it is 10:42, 11:42 Eastern. I will say 15 to 12 minutes to give me time to set it up. Y'all good?
Sounds good.
All right. And y'all come on back. All right. So, all right, Nicole, I'll see you in a little bit.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. So like I said, I'm going to shut this one down. We're done with our Friday show, but we're going to start our Freaky Friday show, in which I'm just going to open up a separate live stream. That way, YouTube will keep this one, and this one is done. And then the other one, like I said, you can come up on screen. We can talk. We're going to say anything. You can go any profanity, any language you want, because it's not going to stay up. So hopefully y'all hear me that. So exactly 15 minutes from now, it just takes me about 5 or 10 minutes to set the live stream up, and then you're going to see it. And I'll have a link in the thing posted where you can come up on screen. And for the first few, I just want y'all can ask me anything you want. And if you don't want to ask me nothing, don't come up. Fair enough? And maybe nobody comes up. Maybe nobody don't want to know shit. But be back in 15 minutes, y'all. Everybody take a break. And I'll see y'all in a moment. Okay? All right. Let's do it. 15 minutes.